she met a guy, and apparently the dude started trying to get a little rough, right? And my father saw it and intervened.
Whoa, that's tight.
And that was it.
Leave her alone!
Right?
The lady said no! Doesn't matter how you trespass a lady!
Don't touch!
Welcome back to another episode of Careful Boys. We have with us Mr. Lyrics Born. So, like, one thing that I realized when I was, like, just looking at your old stuff, like LBTV, I saw your wife even back then.
Yeah.
So, how did that, like, you guys met when you were still in Davis?
Okay, so I told you, like, we all met at KDVS, at the radio station. So Chief XL and I had a radio show for a year or so at the station, and we went into the other rooms, and there she was as a volunteer, folding up newsletters and putting them, stuffing envelopes, basically, as she was volunteering at the station. One thing led to another, you know.
More details.
Yeah, what happened?
I pursued her probably for a good year.
A year.
And she would ride by me on a bike. I'd be like, hey, how you She'd be like, hi, and just keep going, right? So I don't know what happened. I don't remember it. I mean, we've been together so long now. I don't remember exactly what the turning. I know what the turning point was. I remember now. I made her chicken katsu.
Wow. No way.
Oh shit.
Sealed the motherfucking deal.
This is delicious.
How'd you make it for her? Like you gave it to her in like a to-go thing? Like when she
Like a bento box?
With the metal grates?
A bike buy?
Bamboo with ribbon. You know?
You made the sauce for her? You did the whole sesame?
Made a happy face out of the rice and stuff?
Like how'd you get her to like accept it and everything? What was the
You know, I think it's just because I'm a pimp. You know, no.
Pops and skills, you know?
So you know, I grew up eating that shit. You know, I just grew up eating that shit. You know, you take the chicken breast, you pound it, you drag it in the egg, then you throw in the flour, then you put in the breadcrumb. Panko. It was really hard to get panko back then.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, Joe.
You know?
Did you actually have to make it from a bread? You have to dry up the bread and then like shave it off?
Make it yourself?
Now they got it at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Now fucking regular supermarkets have the
Bro, they have
section.
so
They
much.
have an ethnic
They got
section.
gluten-free panko.
Like
You ever seen
anything.
that?
Back then it was like mining for gold. You know, like,
Yeah.
and she was like, I love this. And I love you. No, I'm just kidding. That's not
Funny.
Food was the turning point.
That's cool.
Food was the turning point, man.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
What's her ethnicity?
She's Filipino. Yeah.
Did you grow up in NorCal? With us, yeah.
It's a win for Ryan.
So there's a clear difference between NorCal guys and Southern California, because I was like, man, you got a Bay vibe to your style and everything, and I was like, and then you went to Davis, I was like, okay, you're from the Bay.
Yeah.
But like, did you know
the
back then that she was a singer? Like, when did she start singing on your tracks?
Oh, she's a singer?
Maybe, yeah. So, okay.
She's on his she's vocalist on his album like currently now.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Cool. On the main songs, yeah.
so the first, I knew she was a singer, but she had never recorded anything before. She's classically trained, so she was like, she's trained in opera and,
Whoa.
you know, she's
Like a
been
do, re,
singing.
mi, fa, sol type of lady.
Yeah, like she went to Rome. She like studied in Rome as, you know,
Damn.
when we were in college, and
She did the Figaros.
but she had never recorded.
Oh, okay.
I took her to dance, you know, in like '95, I think, and I wrote the chorus, and the first thing she did was a song called Balcony Beach. She did the chorus for Balcony Beach, and that came out on the Latyrix album. So and then the rest is history, man. I mean, she's been on every album since. And
Wow.
you know, up until we had children, well, one child, she was touring also. So, yeah, it's been a long time.
Did your son go like, man, my fucking parents are just singing and shit all the time?
Rapping and singing.
rapping and singing.
You know, for him, it's normal. For him, it's normal. You know, it's kind of.
He went on tour with you?
She went on tour. Yeah, yeah. She still does shows, but only if it's like a great destination. You know, she's like, New York, I'll be there. New Orleans, I'll be there. Nebraska. I think you got this.
You hold it down.
You know,
That's cool.
so but truth be told, I had the most fun in Nebraska. So, but you know,
Because she's not there.
oh, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
But how is it working with your wife like for that long?
It's great. You know, I mean, she understands me.
Yeah.
You know, we have like sort of this shorthand, you know, in the
right.
studio, like artistically, and you know, it's really funny. Like, she's like if she likes a song, she's like, okay, I'm gonna come in and sing on that. And I'm like, I didn't ask you to.
I don't need anyone on this.
She's like,
I was gonna sing on this.
I'm gonna put my flavor on this.
Figaro like this.
Right? She's like, I'm gonna be on the remix. I'm like, there is no remix. You know, and like,
There is now.
I'm like, okay, babe, sounds good. You know.
Like, let's hit record.
Yeah, you sound great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, one take wonder. Oh,
We're gonna
yeah.
use this one.
I love that.
Fake record your own wife. That's messed up.
And then she's like, where's my part? Oh, I didn't make the cut.
Got erased. My bad.
The vinyl ran out of room.
Vinyl ran out of room. That's hella funny.
2025 vinyl. File's too big. Can't use it.
Does your son want to get into the music too?
I would say he's more of like a hobbyist, you know, when it comes to music. Like, he makes beats, you know, he's got his laptop,
nice.
and
That's cool.
he does this, and sometimes he's like, you know, like, Daddy, come listen, tell me what you think, and like, he'll ask my input, which is pretty cool.
That's really cool.
You're like,
family
you're hard to market, man. Like, these beats are trash.
Have you said that to him?
I don't know, son. It's not bad, you know, but
This beat sounds Asian.
I was hard to market. Your mom's hard to market. You're extra hard to market. Dude.
How honest are you with your son if he's like making something and you're like, you tell him straight up if it needs work or if it needs.
well, there's a way to give constructive criticism, obviously. So if he plays something and it just if it doesn't like align with my taste, I'm like, why don't you try it this way? Okay. It might work better if you try it this way. And then he's like, okay, I'll try it. And then if he likes it that way, he'll keep it. If he doesn't like it that way, he'll go back to what he was doing. I mean, I think what I try to tell him is like, ultimately, my opinion is exactly that. It's just an opinion. You know, this is your music. You're doing whatever. It has to align with your sensibilities. You know, not necessarily mine or any other one person's. You know, so I think I get the opportunity to tell him the shit I wish somebody was there to tell me. You know, and I think that's. I really love that, you know.
How old is he?
15.
What kind of music does he mainly make?
So he did like the other day. He did like an I'm a piano beat. He did like he can do trap. You know.
Cool.
He'll.
My piano to trap is pretty like that's range.
Yeah, but that's what kids do.
Yeah.
They listen to it and it's like, okay.
That's true.
You know, it's all programmed, so it's. And he's just, I love watching it, you know, whether he pursues that or anything else professionally, I don't care, you know. It's just kind of like, as long as you are getting something out of it and, you know, it makes you happy, cool.
You broke the Asian cycle. You never. Oh yeah, that's another thing too. Like, it was super hard in the '90s for Asians to like do anything outside of being a doctor.
Yeah.
How did that work out? Like, did you get disowned?
He became Dr. Dre.
Yeah, like he doesn't play me beats and I'm like, not good enough.
So that's where you kept the Asian culture. It's like, you still gotta be good at it.
Yeah. Or like my father used to be like, no. You know, no, I didn't do that.
Is that how your dad was?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was. And my father was a writer. My
so he was a
father was a
creative
writer.
himself.
Yeah, he was. My dad is actually he's Japanese from Japan, and so like he wrote books, and he wrote like short stories.
So he was already a creative.
He was.
I feel like because my dad's a musician too, and I say like Japanese people don't come to America because they're struggling and they're like poor. They come here because they're outcasts. They come here because they're being rejected from Japan, and then Japanese because they're not poor anymore, right? By the time like you're in the 80s and shit, they're like, no, we have jobs, we have money, but you're like not really wanted here. And then they come to America to be an artist.
Are your parents from Japan?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate for my father. I would say that that's accurate for my father. Like in his. I hate saying this, man, but in his village, his whole family was doctors. His whole family were doctors. He was the artist, so like, right? So like, you're really, and he was married before. Like, my mother was his second marriage.
Oh, that's even
Back then, you're like, what kind of dude is this?
He's a rascal.
Right. And he wanted to be a writer, man. And his whole family will tell you he was crazy.
yeah.
Crazy in the sense his choices were crazy, But
Okay. When you moved to the States, it was just you and your dad?
no, it was me and my mother. So they split.
Oh.
So then they split up. And when I was probably 1 or 2. And then
Damn.
I moved with my mother to the United States.
Oh.
She's American. I moved with her to, first we moved to Utah because her parents were there. And then we stayed there for a few years, and then we moved to California.
Okay.
So I was born in Japan, and I was there till I was about a couple years old, I think. Yeah.
So you were raised single parent household?
For a long time.
Damn.
Yeah, off and on for a long time. Yeah.
Then did your dad eventually come over to the States?
He did, but he split time between Japan and New York. So we were kind of close. I mean, I saw him maybe a couple times a year. We talk on the phone a lot, but English was not his first language. And so we didn't. There was only so much depth that the relationship could have, because we just weren't able to really spend a lot of time together or have conversation as such,
Yeah.
So, but that was my guy.
Did he ever say,
that was my guy.
what would he say about your music and stuff back then?
He didn't understand it. When I first played him, I remember this shit. When I first played him my record, we also did cassingles. I know I'm dating myself here. we made a cassingle of the record, and I played it for him on a Walkman.
So it's all fuzzy.
In those little headphones?
He didn't even know what that was. He's like, what the hell is this shit? So I pressed play, and he had the earbuds in. No, he had like the orange.
Oh yeah, that goes across the top.
Right? Or the headset.
It's all one piece.
And I pressed play, and he went, oh shit! And he took it off right away.
Too loud.
And he put it down.
Too much bass.
And that was it.
Oh shit!
Oh shit! And then
Fuck, dude. I would have quit music if that was me.
I was like,
Oh, shit.
not exactly the response I was looking for, And then, but that, he didn't get it. He didn't get it, And then even then, I would, I was starting to get all these write-ups in Japanese magazines and so forth at that time. When we started getting momentum, and I would give them to him, and he would read them, and he'd go, okay.
So Japanese.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. And that was it.
That's pretty good. He put very in there.
Yeah, very good is awesome. Very good.
And that was it.
Spoiled.
But he was also a lot older than my mother. So when they met, he was like late 40s. She was early 20s, you know, when they met. So he was kind of a different, he was the same age as her father.
Whoa.
You know, basically. Wow. And he's like typical, like kind of Japanese dad from that era. You know, you'd ask him questions. I'd be like, hey man, I heard you were married before. You know, like I'd ask him shit like that. And he'd, can you tell me about, no. All right. I'm like, why, man? Tell me. I'm your son. I want to know about your life, bro. And he's like, you don't need to know. Like, this is some bullshit.
Dang.
What the fuck kind of relationship is this, bro? You know?
Need to know basis, man.
Yeah.
You don't.
He's like, that's the type of dude he was. Now, I don't want to paint the wrong picture though. We did have a good relationship, but there were certain walls, you know, that just you could not penetrate. You know, there was just certain shit he was just not willing to talk about. You know?
That's funny.
And you know, I remember showing him, like when I did my first tour in Japan, I'm out here performing. He's like, did you get big money? And I'm like, I think I did. It was pretty good for what. And I told him, and he was like, no.
No.
That is not big money.
Yeah.
And I was like, I couldn't fucking win, man.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't fucking win. But nonetheless, you know, we did have, I know this doesn't sound like it, but we had a great relationship.
Yeah.
You know, we really did, you know. But there was just certain things, it was generational in my opinion. You know, there were some certain cultural and generational barriers there that we couldn't get beyond, you know.
Yeah.
So
How did your parents meet? They met in Japan?
they met in Mexico. So yeah, they were both on vacation.
Whoa.
Like as single
Yeah,
single?
single.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
So my mother is she's from Sanford. She's from Tarzana. She's from the San Fernando Valley.
Sweet.
And she was with some of her college friends on vacation in Mexico. He was on vacation in Mexico. And I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this. So, she met a guy, and apparently the dude started trying to get a little rough, right? And my father saw it and intervened.
Whoa. That's tight.
And that was it. You know, she was probably like 20, 21, and he was like 48, something like that, you know, 47, 48. And they started dating.
Wow.
Shortly thereafter, they got
Dude,
married.
that's
Shortly
crazy.
thereafter, I was born.
Leave her alone.
Right?
The lady said no. Doesn't matter how you test a lady. That's not how you treat it.
In Mexico, that'd be crazy.
Don't touch her.
Damn, that's a tight way to meet, though.
Yeah. So, you know, it's crazy in retrospect. They were only together like 4 or 5 years, you know, and then they remained friends though over the years. He used to tell me, this is terrible for your mental health as a child, man. But he used to tell me, I never want to divorce her. She want divorce me.
That's what my dad said too. What the fuck?
I'm like, you know, that's none of my
What are you
business.
supposed to do with that info?
Right.
What does your mom say?
She's like, I know, he always loved me. I'm like, oh. It's just some dysfunctional bullshit. Like, as an adult now, I see.
Yeah.
You know, and why I don't want to know any of this shit. You know?
Dad used to tell me,
Yeah.
and then I would tell my mom, I'm like, hey, Dad said you're the one that wanted it. And my mom would be like, then ask him why is he the one that got the divorce papers sent to my office.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, it's just that he
Yeah.
said, she said.
And now suddenly you're in the weeds.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck
know?
this, dude.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I think that's probably
Both of them get angrier and angrier, and then you're like, fuck, I just want to know history. I don't want to get yelled at by two people.
right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's one thing that as a parent I never do. I do not put my son in between myself or anybody else that I'm having adult problems with.
Because he don't need to know.
You don't need to know.
That is not big money.
Don't touch.
Don't touch her. Divo ha Aron.
How do you not fall in love after that, man? There's no way.
I'm in, bro.
I just picture your dad as like Shredder.
Don't touch.